Hello everyone, good morning. We hope you and your family are safe, healthy, and doing great. Thank you so much for your time and interest in this session. So, before we move on to the depth of the webinar, let us introduce ourselves. So, I'll start with myself, Anish Narayanan, AVP and the Analytics Practice Lead for JKT, and I'm helping organizations to gain valuable insights out of their business data for more than 15 years across the industries and geographies. With me, I have my colleagues and fellow presenters, Satyan and Sushma. I would request them to give a brief about themselves.
Hello everyone, good morning. This is Satyan Pari. I am working as a principal consultant in analytics for JK Technosoft. I have close to 10 plus years of experience in analytics, where I help the customers from manufacturing, retail, and CPG to adapt smart and intelligent analytics into them.
Over to you, Sushma.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon for people sitting around different time zones. Myself, Sushma, working as a senior consultant in analytics at JK Technosoft. I have 10 plus years of experience working on business intelligence and advanced analytics technologies.
Thank you, Sushma and Satyan. So let's go back to the cover. Yeah. So what are we trying to do here? We are planning to conduct a series of webinars named as JKT in the Age of AI, emphasized on the impact of cognitive technologies, especially AI or machine learning, deep learning, on businesses across the industries, where we depict how JKT's smart analytics practice helps our existing customers to create an analytics blueprint using an effective data strategy to make maximum business value out of this eminent digital data explosion which is happening around us. To be specific, this first episode will cover a couple of advanced analytics business use cases, namely social media radar for social media analytics and sales promotion recommendation engine based on an NLP NLU toolkit with the customer success stories on how a business can increase their top line revenue by enhancing the customer experience or optimize their bottom line or streamline their operational cost using a proven data strategy and an analytics blueprint by leveraging the digital data surplus, right? In addition, we are trying to focus on this session not technically from an angle on tackling business challenges using advanced text analytics only powered by AI or ML. So having said that, let's move on to the next slide where we are going to look at the current changing world situations and digitization. Right? Undoubtedly, all business establishments across the world, irrespective of their strength and the type of the industry, have been already affected greatly by the coronavirus pandemic. And this is an event which will have long-lasting implications, not only in our world economy, but also in any organizational institutions. Perhaps one of the most overwhelming challenges that the businesses are struggling with right now is realizing the value of their existing digital operation models and speed up the transition of their digital innovation and transformation network to ensure the continuity of the business workflow in the future time period. So as per recent surveys that it is quite clearly observed that by the end of 2020, at least by this epidemic, our world will be ever more connected with an estimated 4.2 billion smartphones, 4.5 billion users of social networks, and more than 50 billion connected objects. Hence, digital transformation or journey to the digital enterprise is inevitable, and it is already happening, right? And it is raising multiple questions from multiple dimensions to the businesses on their approach to tackle challenges like the globalization, the globalized world with high competition. You can imagine any new day, new competitions are entering the market very quickly with their own new products or services across the geographies, right? Because of the globalization around the world, right? And we have very sophisticated customers in the new normal lifestyle that we are living, right? In a world where the pandemic triggered the digital data explosion, that's exploding in multiple aspects of volume, variety, veracity, the trust factor, across different dimensions of business or its sub department in every industry. And this will result in very highly empowered customers for any business or any users of any organization having access to the competitive relevant information of your company or your competitions, communication and actions in social communities. Even though we reduce the social distance in the physical world, we are getting, our bond is getting stronger and stronger in the virtual social media world. So this information overflow paints the actual business data as a new asbestos. We all know about asbestos, right? Once the asbestos was invented, it was the invention was considered as good as a invention of wheel, right? It was supposed to change the human life into the next level. Now what we saw, right? After a decade or two, we identified that no, asbestos is quite hazardous to human life. Similarly, the huge amount of data, right, raised generated out of this digital data world, right, it is quite difficult to maneuver with this data, right? So how can businesses convert this data into business fuel, right, to generate business value out of this digital transformation using effective data strategies? Definitely, this data exploration demands for a strict regulatory and compliance obligations. Organizations should think global, but should be compliant local. Right? So we can summarize that the digitization is considered as the next big thing, a step change that will have a bigger impact on businesses even than the internet. To win this digital journey, companies or organizations across the world must act or react to it, right? Or be left wondering what has happened. Now, we're going to see in the next slide that how can we redesign business analytics for a digital world? I mean, how to navigate to the digital data enterprise journey, right? However, the first and the foremost, digital transformation or the journey to the digital enterprise requires a different mindset and an increased flexibility. What we mean by that, it demands deep understanding of your own business and your customers along with the thrive to align themselves in the line with the technology revolution. That's why JKT Business Smart Analytics Solutions combine world-class business knowledge as well as the technology patterns with market-disrupting innovations. In the next slide, we're going to talk about how organizations, right, can create business value out of this digital data explosion by drafting analytics blueprint that we mentioned with the effective data strategies. Now, the journey of converting the digital business data into the into valuable business insights and then into the business value in terms of dollar figures starts with defining a solid data foundation for tomorrow's digital enterprise, for your journey for tomorrow, right? Let's start from the left bottom of this particular slide. In general, most of the organizations or the businesses across the world relies on their day-to-day structured transaction OLTP ERP datasets to make their business decision making. But as we all know, in the new digital world, new insights or the new business opportunities are emerging mainly due to three different dimensions of data getting generated on every millisecond basis. The first one, and the first and foremost, right, the personal data economy, which is one of the biggest drivers of digital transformation. You name it, I mean, behavioral pattern analytics of your own customers, employees, your suppliers, gender analytics, demographic analysis, financial stability analytics, or the customer profiling, buying patterns of your own customers, driving patterns from an automobile industry. Lot of data based on the usage of the humans on this planet is getting generated in the virtual world, and it can be used for the benefit of the organizations where they have defined their target customer audience, right? The second point is Internet of Things. We are hearing about Internet of Things, the Internet of automobile vehicles, the machine-to-machine informations, any kind of sensors attached to any business in any way, right? You would like to understand what will be the health of my costly asset in a manufacturing industry. How do I keep a track of my assets in a telecommunication industry? There is a lot of data coming out of this machines, makes a lot of meaning and make a lot of business insights out of it. Now, third, the open data, the general social informations, right? Your social media information about your own customers, your competition, or even your product launches. What is the voice of my customer? In addition to that, weather data, the weather forecasting and the weather data for the history, right? internal affairs, like what's happening in US, the riots or something like that, or the calamities. How will it affect somebody's business or my sales or my payment behavior of my own payment party, be it my customer, be it my vendor. These new aspects of data combined with the ERP traditional structured information can yield key forecasting insights for the businesses to plan the race ahead, right? So we are talking about the data strategy now, but at the same time, right, having an effective data strategy stands alone makes no value. It is vital for businesses or organizations or for any IT practitioner or an AI practitioner or a business sponsor to convert this enormous amount of data into business value. That's where we propose that any digital business initiative should be paired with a business challenge. The solution to that challenge should digitally empower the business by leveraging the analytics to increase their top line value, top line revenue, which is more or less enhancing your customer experience, increasing the customer experience. You can see one of the petal of our analytics blueprint flower in the digital transformation journey. So the second could be that everybody is interested to increase their top line at the same time that they are also interested to optimize their bottom line cost, increasing the operational efficiency, reducing everybody's cost, right? Or enhancing the safety factor. I mean, there are a lot of information getting arise. At the same time, privacy is one of the important factors as per the policy, as per the government, as well as the confidentiality of my organization, right? So enhancing the safety factor is one of the important criteria while defining the journey or analytics blueprint in the digital transformation journey. Thereby, you can also look into reinventing your business processes in line with the changing world. I mean, something like the smart city projects or a digital customer for automotive industry to understand the digital driving patterns of a customer that can customize the car for a specific human being. Can you imagine that? So this is a flower with the 4 petals that we are trying to categorize different business use cases which can relate to digital transformation under 4 different buckets. Well, the first one is all about enhancing the customer experience. And what do I mean by enhancing the customer experience, right? Let's talk about something like social media analytics, where an organization has a chance to understand what is my customers talking about myself, right? Or my product, my services, or a specific mobile campaign that I've started. For example, that I've just launched Galaxy 7, and a lot of people in the social media are talking about a battery issue of my mobile, right? Or the mobile which has been just launched. And if I align that data against the sales data from my ERP system, I can understand that my sales is plummeting, and the reason that I can correlate to from the social media, from the voice of my customer, is the reliability of the battery, right? So thereby you are directly addressing a customer pain point and enhancing your sales, right? Top line revenue. You can increase, I mean, you can create a customer profiling and create a customer loyalty campaign, thereby increasing the customer lifetime value of a customer, cutting down the churn of the customer. So there are a lot of digital use cases comes under the customer experience petal or a bucket. Secondly, let's go to the operational excellence. There are a lot of use cases that we're all familiar with, like forecasting my sales volume for the next quarter or for the next financial year. Considering varieties of factors, not only the history of my sales for the last financial year, it can relate to based on the product or the services. If I'm an agricultural manufacturer, agricultural equipment manufacturer, that I would relate my sales into the availability of rain, right? I mean the different types of internal affairs in my country, right? It can relate to an epidemic, right? In the case of an epidemic, I should be aware of my sales volume forecast to keep my cash intact, right? Or the predictive maintenance or an asset management. So there can be multiple use cases which can be assessed under the operational excellence bucket to increase or optimize your bottom line cost. Similarly, from the security, compliance, and the governance perspective, the fraud detection, the customer scoring, right, or a credit rating for a particular customer while defining a particular policy for them, or regulatory reporting, right? At the same time, these use cases should also take you to the next level in building the digital enterprise for you, enhancing the or reinvention of your own business processes, like connected assets for you guys, right? You should be able to tap on your costly assets at the on a second basis and understand how is it happen. So there can be multiple aspects coming into that particular section, but the key aspect here is to understand that all these use cases, I mean, the of these use cases should be based on an agile methodology or an agile basis, that on an and on an affordable manner. What do I mean by the agile and the affordable manner is that you know the kind of results or the low hanging fruits for the business to get them hooked onto this journey, so that they will evaluate, they understand the value of digital data mining using advanced analytics. And it is vital to understand this digital world, that analytics is a key enabler of the change, and the cloud, along with the real-time contextual mobility, helps to accelerate the provision of the right services at the right moment to the right person, which can make a everlasting impact in any industry. Hence, this blueprint will hook the business sponsors of your own organization into the digital data value journey using advanced analytics or the normal business analytics, and they can drive the need inside the organization to analyze, harvest any data points in the organization. Few to name are the customer information, product, employee, machine, and any other open data points, right? This kind of analytics blueprint or a data strategy, this is regardless of the industries. It is just about how an organization is trying to structure their business use cases under 4 different sections, as we mentioned over here, right? This will help you to have a solid data foundation for your digital future, to convert the data into business value in terms of dollar figures. Now, let's move on to the next slide and see a few of the benefits of, we are going to investigate few digital business challenges and their solution clubbed under the 4 petals that you saw in the last slide. So as I mentioned before, that this session is technically focused on advanced text analytics using ML or machine learning or deep learning models, using state-of-art methods like NLP, NLU, NLG toolkits to enable abstract, extract summarization, or fuzzy text searching, abbreviation models, etc. There can be multiple aspects, when it comes to the advanced text analytics in various industries, various business functions point of view. One of them, as I said, the social media analytics would be one of them for any industry, any B2C industry, right, who is directly interacting with the customers. Contract management would be a excellent advanced text analytics use case for a law firm, right? Automated assisted transcription or recommendation engine would be an excellent use case for a health industry, right? The customer scoring or credit rating could be one of the beautiful use case for banking industry from advanced text analytics perspective. But however, having said that, we are going to focus on 2 different products and solutions that we have developed. One of them is SMR, which is an indigenous product that hosted on a cloud, and my colleague Satyan is going to take you through those details of social media radar, JKT's inbuilt social media analytics tool, and the various business benefit that you can raise out of that. Satyan, over to you.
Thank you, Anish. Thanks for emphasizing on the importance of digitization for the businesses. So as we now know that digitization has become an inevitable for all the businesses. To weather the current storm, business needs to have an innovative business model to stay in the game. At the same time, there is also a big task to ensure that your customer loyalty also never goes down. Let's take specifically for B2C businesses. For them, getting to know the voice of their customer on their products or brand is very critical for their growth. At the same time, it is also important for them to know about the voice of the people who are not part of their existing customer base, but these people might know about or might not require a formal introduction to the product or the brand, but they are still not your customer. It is very important to convert them into a loyal customers, which is going to be the key growth engine for any business. And to do this, social media is a best place to hear all the chatter that is happening around your product or a brand. And To put it in a different perspective, it's not only about the voice of the customer or voice of the people. You need to know, or you need to be well aware of how your competitors' social media presence and their campaign strategy, how they are really positioned themselves in the social media when you compared with yourself. And we also need to know a pattern that is getting generated out of the voice of your customers or the voice of the people that is discussing about your product or a brand. And finally, how you going to attribute or benchmark your social media investments that is being carried out by the marketing team, or how you generally going to determine the success failure rate for any campaigns that you do on social media. This open data information that we acquire from the different platforms of social media or the open internet, when you couple this with your enterprise information, that's the place where you get the meaningful insights. So it's not about just determining the reason for a sales growth or sales down just by seeing the enterprise data. You need to look beyond the enterprise information. A business, in order to grow, need a holistic view on the above points which I have mentioned. They basically need to understand the sentiment of the people against their products or brands in a meaningful way to make an effective decision making. This is where the social media analytics plays a very important role. So at JKT, we came up with this indigenous product called Social Media Radar, which helps to address the pain points with respect to social media marketing. On a high level, what the platform does is it acquires the information from various social media channels, review sites, or anything. It acquires the information, it analyzes it like a human being, and then it benchmarks that information to determine the sentiments. When all the treatments happens, it finally delivers the insight in a more presentable way in an understandable visualizations. This is the ultimate glance of what a social media radar developed by JKT can do it. What exactly this social media radar delivers? If you really see, SMR delivers these, or it addresses the following pain points that we generally have with the businesses. How do we analyze the presence or the voice of the customer with along with their individual social media channels? How do you monitor your social, or how do you monitor the competitors' social media presence? How do you track the issues, or how the issues are getting addressed by the customers who raises it in the social media? And most importantly, you need a segmentation of the customers who speaks about your product or brands in the internet. You need the segmentation of their race. You need to segmentation of their age group, their geography. This is very important in order to do a structured or a very specific segment based campaigning. And are the key points that are addressed by SMR along with the tool. So we're going to talk about one of the use case which we implemented this tool for our customer who's a leading Windows door manufacturer in US, not only US, across the globe. So our customer has got their presence across 19 countries, and they have close to 117 manufacturing facilities. In 19 countries, they exist in different brand names because of different acquisitions. So understanding the overall sentiment of their products across these geographies and across different brands, it's a challenging task. What as a JKT we did is we did an extensive due diligence workshop with the marketing team in understanding what are the social media presence, what are the key tags that they are using, and how frequent they are updating their social media, and what are the campaigns that they're doing. So to be precise, they have close to 50 brands across the globe in 6 different languages, and certain European languages you need to derive the sentiment in their native language. So we did this implementation for them, and they seen the following business benefits. They could able to determine the success failure metric whenever there is going to be a social media campaign. And what they did is, instead of running a very holistic campaign, they did a very focused campaign on a products on a specific countries, which helped them to understand the sentiment very well. And more importantly, they can arrive a meaningful insights actions across the customer response what they received for their products and base. So this is a success story of JKT when we implemented this social media radar, which predominantly works on the principle of text analytics. Now, getting into the technical side of SMR, this is this is a SaaS based product, software as a service, where you can just subscribe to this and then you can start using or start feeling its presence. It works like a Netflix. You need to subscribe it where you just need an internet and a username ID will be provided. It is more of like a plug and play. It is a UI UX based front end and a big data lake that sits on the background. So this information, all the social media information are acquired using an regulated as well as approved Python adapters, which are GDPR compliant. This information is then acquired and then cleansed. It is then treated with an NLP engine to understand the sentiment. And when I say sentiment, it's not just about positive and negative. We have a 10 scale sentiment classifier, which is going to analyze the information in a more detailed way and then give you the sentiment. And finally, what social media radar does is it brings the business a lot closer to its customers as well as their potential customers. Now, having said that, so it's now time to see the application in action. So, Anish, over to you.
Thank you, Satyan. I hope you all can see my screen. So let's take a walkthrough of SMR as a solution, right? As Satyan said, it's an AI NLP based engine or a platform, SaaS based and hosted in Australian cloud, and this is a plug and play for their own business. So let's have a quick 5 minutes overview of this solution, what this solution does, and what is the different capabilities it can facilitate to various businesses. So you see that it's a website, and you can log on with your subscribed user and password, and it takes you to a control center where you can see a lot of tiles been arranged in a different way. Where few of the tiles you can see, you can see the sentiments based on the keywords, the mentions based on the timeline. Where are they coming from? Which channels, and what are the top discussed topics about your own product service? It's not only for you. You can assess your own competition to understand where do you stand in the industry in line with your competition. So you can see a bit of information coming from Google Plus, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere in internet we can bring the data, right? You can see what are your top influencers, right? Are you being lobbied by a digital marketing agency? What is your top influential post per user, right? This is also connected or integrated with Google Trend Analytics, right, which is very essential for businesses. And you can also do a location wise drill down of what are people, I mean, how is the feedback of my product in various countries based on your own marketing strategy. Now let's dive a little bit deep into that. We have created this as a very customizable platform that people can create or configure their own screens as they want. This is one of the customization of the same flavor. So you can see that you can analyze the sentiment based on the channel. You can click on Twitter. You can identify the the strong positive comments from Twitter, where is it coming from, or you want to do a gender-based analysis, right? It's all based on that. What is the information that you had made? I mean, based on the user made public to the social media world, right? If they kept that, I don't want to share my location information, this will not be fetched out. So it's completely GDPR and the security compliant. You can analyze the data in multiple ways, and you can go to the grid and identify that specific solution. I can tell you an instance over here. We were doing this report for a spec manufacturer in UK, and identified that they don't manufacture specs for extra sized humans, right? We identified that, brought into their own their own interest, and they fixed it. So you can see that this is from a sentiment perspective, time-wise perspective. Social media is all about time, right? What is hot in social media yesterday is not hot today, right? So it is very vital for you to have the ability to clearly slice and dice the information from a from a time perspective. That's very essential in any social media analytics. And this is why essential, that you're going to plot this data against your own enterprise data to make multiple insights out of it. And you might look into various aspects. I'll tell you a interesting instance that we found out of gender analysis. We found that while we were analyzing of Thorns, we found that the middle-aged American males are more interested in the Game of Thrones than anybody else. So just an aspect. So this is from the channel perspective, that as I said, that you can have multiple aspects or a slice and dice of the information to actually get into your user to identify what is it happening. Is it positive or negative? If it is positive or negative, why is it happening and who is it doing, right? And you can go deep dive and have omni-channel communication with that specific fix the problem, or to give him some special promotions or anything as such. So this is from a key points perspective, that what are people really talking about you, right, from a positive perspective as well as from a negative perspective. And you can increase the inflow of your data as you require on by slicing onto the right side. So for the interest of time, I'm just going forward a little bit. So this is more about your top influence. So this is very important, especially in the elections from a political perspective, that you can have digital marketing agencies to lobby or influence your users to have positive or negative impact on your brand, service, or in your competition, right? So we made this particular aspect to make sure that whatever the social media feeds or the voice of the users created for your organization is actually real. What is unreal, we are getting blacklisted. We are blacklisting them and keeping it aside so that it will not come out of the final assessment. Now, this is top influential post perspective, that what are really talking about good about you, wrong about you. You can see at the side that you can do gender analysis. You can do based on weak positive, strong positive, or from a channel perspective, or at the same time same for negative posts. And this is an integrated platform for you, that you can have Google Analytics, Twitter Analytics, but you will get the data from respective channels on. This is an integrated platform which can load anything from internet and make meaning out of it. And we have a state-of-art NLP, NLG toolkit been deployed over here to understand the insights out of it. So this is more from a Google Trends perspective, that what is the trend of the particular keyword and who are really looking into you in Google across the world, right? I mean, we found an interesting case with a claim management agency while we were doing this social media analysis, that most of the customers are Googling them for their customer contact number, right, for various reasons. So this is one aspect of it. This is the location-based access. Now let me show you that how easy this to use for a business user. You just have to click over there, create a connected to Google set. Let me take something which is going on, right? So you can select what is the best hashtag which is available. You can select your channel. We currently support 6 channels as of now. We are trying to enhance it to 10 channels in this next version. So click your own channels. You want to search this as a hashtag, just click create. The information will be loaded behind automatically, and it will show you the results over here. So this is as simple as it is. And now let me go back to more or less a very high-level walkthrough about JKT's social media radar, but it's an integrated platform specifically focused on AI NLP engine, getting a lot of unstructured data out of social media platforms and structure it and enhance it using their own indigenous NLP models and gaining the result for the business users. So that's all about the social media radar. And we're going to talk about one another use case about sales promotion recommendation engine, where we are using different techniques of text analytics using NLU, NLP, and NLG engines, creating language models and abbreviation models. I would request Sushma Palla to give a brief overview of the same.
Okay. Thank you, Anish, for that demo on capabilities of SMR and providing an overview on how this tool improves customer experience. So by now we understand that the enormous data lying across different platforms helps organizations derive actionable insights and accelerate the strategic decision-making process to improve the customer experience. Then how about leveraging this very data and combine it with cognitive technologies to optimize your operational costs? So we will now discuss a business use case that's common with most of the FMCGs across the world. Optimize the whole process of evaluating the effectiveness of sales promotions. So in today's competitive environment, organizations heavily rely on promotions and offers in order to generate good returns. Sales promotions are considered to be a powerful mechanism for enhancing sales for business, and evaluating the effectiveness of sales promotions at regular intervals is vital for an organization. So in the next few minutes, we will discuss about a solution that was developed for one of our clients, who is the third largest FMCG in the world, and is looking for a robust solution that accelerates the process of benchmarking their sales performance. So as part of this process, we consume and analyze information coming from global market research companies like Nielsen. This Nielsen data, it provides comprehensive and timely information on market shares, competitive sales volumes, pricing, and promotions. Now, what they're trying to do with the Nielsen data is they compare this detailed information to their internal sales promotion master data. So with the help of this, the business analysts can assess the efficiency of the promotions and then eventually help them determine the return of investment from their sales promotions. But this entire process isn't an easy task to be performed on a monthly basis. It's a tedious and a time-consuming task for various aspects, like, for instance, the lack of uniformity, for instance, between the Nielsen and the internal sales data is challenging. For example, let's take a product named Lakme. Okay, this Lakme in your internal sales data will be named as LAKME. However, when the data is really coming from this Nielsen, this product name could be abbreviated as LAK. So it poses a real challenge when we need to look for such abbreviations and then match them against the right set of data in your internal sales promotion master sheet. So this involves a lot of manual work to compare two entirely different sets of information that do not have any definite connection of data, as well as no definite comparison rules that can be applied to extract the required information. So in fact, it becomes challenging for a human brain to process and decode such data from one sheet to another sheet. Ultimately, the customer was ending up wasting days and manpower for simply extracting and doing the job of mapping this Nielsen marketing information to their internal sales data. And the end of the day, even after all those intensive efforts put in to decipher the required info, the accuracy was way less than 40%. So the client was really looking for a robust solution with both speed and precision as a need of the hour. And this can only be achieved through cognitive technologies. So we, JKT, delivered the customer a sales recommendation engine, which is built using a natural language processing platform. This solution, it uses two artificially intelligence neural networks. One, the language model, and two, the abbreviation model. These models collectively perform the matching exercise between the Nielsen data and the sales promotion master data, and they extract the right information. So we delivered this solution that automates the entire exercise of comparing two different sets of data, process it with using cognitive brain, and decode the required information with an accuracy of close to 95%. So few of the value adds delivered to the customer with this solution are, we were able to reduce the total cost of ownership by 80%. And as mentioned earlier, we could improve the data accuracy from 40 all the way to 95%. And this solution also comes with other benefits, like the solution saved considerable amount of time and money, since we were able to automate this complex task of sales performance benchmarking process. And also by leveraging these cognitive technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, we enable the customer, with faster business decision making. And at the end of the day, we were able to help them increase their productivity and improve the operational efficiency. So that's about our solutions and success stories on how we leveraged cognitive technologies with text analytics to accelerate the business process and improve your customer experience and operational excellence. We also have our footprints in terms of handling image and video analytics, and we will be discussing more on it in our next webinar series. But Anish will be able to throw some overview on it. Anish, over to you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Sushma. So, uh, see, by walking you through the both the use cases, the message that wanted to bring onto the table is the digital data mining using AI-based advanced analytics is no longer a nice to have, right? There is no way back. Businesses needs to invest in cognitive data analytics now because the pace is going to accelerate, and if a company is not disrupting, then it should be ready to get disrupted. Don't forget the fact that a bookstore company, Amazon, is a major competition to Oracle or let's say Microsoft or Google, right? And making old companies like IBM and HP far behind, right? So no matter what is the future direction of the technology will take, one thing is for sure, the cognitive intelligence or the cognitive analytics adoption will accelerate and will re-accelerate with every new improvement which will happen on this specific science branch, artificial intelligence. So same for those companies who tried, who failed to adapt the internet 20 years before and 2 decades before. And those will underestimate the AI or the cognitive technology revolution. Now could be disrupted far beyond repair like the other ones. So the time is now. Cognitive analytics or the AI-based advanced analytics is no longer a choice. So more or less, that's it from us for this particular session. And once again, thank you so much for your time. And as Sushma mentioned that in the next episode that we're going to focus on how advanced video analytics or video intelligence can help businesses to create business value out of their digital data explosion. Thank you so much once again, and let's go to the Q&A.
Hello, Keshav. Yeah, you can go for the question.
Yes, Keshav. So we have a question from Anand. What is the technical prerequisite for SMR usage? So as Satyan mentioned, Anand, this is a SaaS-based tool and hosted in cloud. So you just need to have a laptop and an internet access to have that particular access. I hope I answered your question. Yeah. So John is asking, what are the different phases of ML business use case implementation? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very good question. So as I said before, that this should be the execution methodology should be based on an agile model. So we'll start with the POC with 25 to 30% of the scope, and it will take 4 to 6 weeks of time, followed by a mini viable product, which will take another 4 weeks on top of it, which will cover 50 to 60% of the scope. Along with that, after that, we'll go for a which will take another 4 weeks on top of it, which will cover 80 to 90% of your scope. Then we go for the production deployment and geographical rollouts for different business functions. Yeah. So from a high level, John, this is what it is. We have a question from Andrew and Abhishek, more or less the same question. What are the different technical aspects of technical advanced text analytics? What are the different areas of advanced text analytics using AI? So to summarize this question, that if I want to answer it, so using an NLP, NLU, NLG, toolkit that you can do a paraphrase regeneration, rewriting of a text, or extractive question answering. Like imagine that you have an app which will read out the newspaper sections for you based on your interest and neglecting the rest of the newspaper, for example. And the state of art work is going on in abstractive question answering session, or in a daily life example, that if I give you a 100-page book that and asking you to read that 100-pager and come up with a 2 to 3-pager in your own words. So it's like as good as human brain understanding the text data synthesis into your own neurons. So that's where most of the work is going on as of now, and the latest thesis which has come over here from IBM Watson is in the mid of this year, and that's the latest work on it. Yeah, and apart from that, there are text similarity, query expressions, and sentence simplifications, as you know, most of the similar writing tools like Grammarly does, and language services as we have shown in the SMR. Right. Any other questions? All right. Then in case you don't have any other questions, I think we will wind it off today. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode of how advanced video intelligence analytics can help businesses to create business value out of the digital data. Thank you everyone. Thank you for your time, and I hope you and your family are safe.